Now, back in the 1980s, a group of teenage boys, and they were mostly boys at that time, began programming computers for fun in their bedrooms. 25 years later, their efforts helped to make £1 billion each year in the UK alone.
And the Midlands is one of the centres for the industry, based around Warwickshire. Our science correspondent, David Gregory-Kumar, is in Leamington Spa this evening. So what's the attraction for the town, David?
Well, Nick, there are just so many video games companies here, and they earn the town a lot of money. Companies like Blitz, DNA Studios, Freestyle Games, who we'll be talking to in a moment. There's about 1,000 people employed in the industry in Leamington Spa, earning the UK economy something like £100 million a year. So to celebrate all that, we have the Backspace exhibition and festival for the next 2 weeks. And while I go and have a look, you can take a look at what you can expect to see if you come to visit. From teenage bedrooms a quarter of a century ago to a global industry, but much of it still rooted in Leamington Spa.
It's important here in a local context because there is this rich history of video gaming in Leamington and video game production that a lot of Leamington people have no idea about it. It's actually really important in the kind of worldwide history of video gaming, and that's something that's kind of forgotten about, especially because it's a small town, it's not London, so it's a curious thing, but it's there, it's true.
At various points, the town itself has even found itself recreated inside the games made by companies based here. 25 years after it started, Cadbury's got its first royal warrant. Jaguar was working on the E-Type. So for the video game industry, well, there have been lots of big games, big blockbusters, but I think the thing you'd have to pick out is that this town now has 1,000 people working in the industry. And the people behind this exhibition want to show a new generation that they can do it too.
To them, it's a bit like trying to be David Beckham. It's like, well, even David Beckham started somewhere, and it's the same in games too. And it's just a case of showing them that it's possible to get that first rung on the ladder and go from being a teenager doing stuff in your bedroom to being internationally renowned games developer. And in many ways, the industry has come full circle.
It starts very much in sort of bedrooms with two guys. It sort of explodes into this massive kind of industry. But when you see sort of coming back around to sort of now, it spawned more two guys in bedrooms, two-man bands, who was sort of going to be the next big thing.
Where will the industry go in the next 25 years? Well, that's a very good question. So let's put it to Jamie Jackson from Freestyle Games. Jamie, behind you is DJ Hero, one of your big hits from recent years. But what are you working on at the moment?
Can't possibly tell you.
It's an interesting time for the industry now, isn't it? You've got new consoles coming out and new ways of paying and playing games, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, things are changing quite a lot, and it's not just consoles. You know, people are playing on mobile devices and tablets more and more. So, you know, the idea of just being three consoles is completely out the window these days.
What does that mean for your company? You're looking for new people, different types of talents?
For us, at the minute, it's kind of different types of talent. Monetization stuff's interesting because it's a very different way of buying games these days. But network programmers, things like that, people, because we play so much online now, we connect online. So those are the kind of tough ones for us.
Now, it's been tough for people in the industry. There was a bit of retrenchment, you know, when the financial crisis hit. How are things now?
For us, they're much better. I mean, I couldn't speak for everybody, but it's much better for us. We're recruiting. We're trying to bulk up for a couple of projects we're working on. So, yeah, it's a lot better than it was a few years ago.
And we've got this exhibition here. You can see when new consoles come in. It's an interesting period for the industry. It's not as simple as just putting out new games for new consoles, is it?
No, I mean, you've got to kind of bear in mind that the first time, that when they first launched, there's not going to be many of them in the market for a while. So, you know, you look at PlayStation 3 and there's probably 100 million of them out there. But next 2 years, there's not going to be that many. So consumers are much more cautious about what they're buying. So you kind of have to think a lot about that.
Jamie, thank you very much for that. Now, before we go, let me just show you something in this exhibition. This is the A-level homework of one Philip Oliver on the impact of home computers. He would go on to found Blitz Games. And if the end of this homework isn't, I will found a multi-million-pound company and revolutionise Leamington Spa, I shall be very disappointed. But for now, it's back to you in the studio.
I'm slightly cross-eyed, but David, thank you.